the feints, the foot movement, the way he lands shots. He fights like a boxer. He doesn't fight like a guy who's trying to box in a celebrity boxing match.
That's sinking.
Jake
That's
Paul,
boxing.
Gervonta Davis is so crazy. 135 versus 200.
Is, if I'm not mistaken, a 92-pound weight difference, almost a 100-pound weight difference. It's insane. Let's say he comes in at 200 pounds. It's still a 65-pound weight advantage, which is absolutely ridiculous.
Joe Rogan has once again set the combat sports world buzzing with his latest bold prediction ahead of the Jake Paul versus Gervonta Tank Davis clash. The UFC commentator didn't mince words, warning that Jake Paul's sheer size and power could end Tank's career if the two actually meet in the ring. Rogan acknowledged Davis's explosive punching ability, but stressed that the size gap is too extreme, arguing that Tank, despite his skill and ferocity, is simply too small to withstand Jake's strength, reach, and physical presence.
My opinion is, I just want to say, in case someone called me in court, I'm an idiot and I don't know nothing. And don't take my advice.
I love the
Don't
Saudis.
take my opinion.
I love the Israeli government. I love
That had
everybody.
nothing to do with them.
Hmm?
That was Jake Paul promoting it. You know, it's just
It's-
like,
but
doesn't bother me.
there's compromise in the sport, and that's like bad. It's just like
If I bet on it, it bothers
watching
the
it,
fuck out of me.
watching it with people who are so in on it, and then also the like, man, the sports betting apps they introduce like chat apps in them in Australia, so it's like they're trying to take the place of social media companies where you go together and you meet your friends. Like betting should be exciting enough without having a weird.
They're just trying to draw you in.
Parasocial thing.
They're just trying to make money, right? So they're trying to draw you in.
Rogan also admitted that Jake Paul has genuinely evolved into a capable boxer. He noted that if Paul didn't come from YouTube background, fans would be praising his rise as impressive and legitimate, pointing out his solid fundamentals, real ring IQ, and composed fighting style. However, Rogan didn't shy away from warning about the danger of facing Gervonta Davis. He emphasized that Tank operates on an entirely different level when it comes to skill, precision, and knockout power. And if Jake underestimates that for even a moment, the outcome could be disastrous.
What do you think of this Jake Paul fella?
I always say that if Jake Paul was not a YouTube star, people just looked at him like an up-and-coming boxer, you would say, this kid's got a lot of fucking talent. He's dangerous. I think his strength is that they underestimate him because of what his background was. They think there's no way that some guy who became famous off of YouTube is going to be an actual legit boxer. If you look at what he's done, he's a very good boxer.
Jake Paul didn't mince words when he declared, "I would destroy him in the ring given the size." The bold statement, though paired with a nod of respect for Gervonta Davis's skill and heart, instantly sparked backlash. Critics argue that such comments undermine the fight's legitimacy, turning it into a spectacle of ego rather than true sport. With Paul walking around close to 200 pounds as a cruiserweight and Davis dominating at lightweight, many believe the massive size gap makes this more than just a mismatch. It borders on reckless showmanship.
I'll be down. Let's run it. Like, I'll be super, super down. I don't know if
Gervonta needs Jake Paul. Let's be clear, right?
is there a height limit in boxing?
For Tank, there's no way that this goes well for Tank Davis. Because if he wins, they go, oh yeah, world champion. Of course you were supposed to beat that YouTuber. If he struggles but wins, they go, ooh, Tank is washed. He struggled against Jake Paul. He still won, but he had a hard time. And then, of course, if he loses to Jake Paul. And him and boxing lose their credit.
Rogan's comments came just as new details about the fight were announced. The bout is officially set for November 14th, 2025 at the Casaya Center in Miami and will be streamed live on Netflix as a special 10-round exhibition event. The agreed catch weight of 195 pounds marks a massive jump for Gervonta Davis, who typically competes around 135 pounds and even exceeds Jake Paul's usual cruiserweight limit. The drastic weight difference has only fueled further debate over the safety and competitiveness of the matchup.
My point still stands where it stands. Jake Paul wins this fight. I already bet Gervonta Davis in the DMs. We locked the bet. Guys, it's obvious Jake wins this fight. If you guys know anything about fighting, you know about weight classes. You know that Jake's been training for actual years. He's been locked in.
Oh my days. Jake Paul versus Tank Davis. Is this real? This can't be real. Because he was talking about fighting Joshua, which is heavyweight. And now he's saying about fighting Tank. Nah, this can't be. It's Netflix as well. I need to go and do some checks and see if like the main pages have posted this. But Jake Paul's posted it. It says Friday, November 14th. It's in Atlanta, State Farm Arena. This is random, though.
Beyond Rogan, numerous boxing insiders and analysts have voiced their opinions on the matchup, and the tone has been overwhelmingly cautious. Many have expressed deep concern over the vast size difference, questioning both the legitimacy and safety of the event. Some see it as a dangerous mismatch that prioritizes entertainment value over competition, while others flat out doubt whether the bout should even be sanctioned at all.
Oh, Jake Paul is fighting Gervonta Tank Davis. Chilaquiles, chilaquiles. Oh, it's musty, and I say that respectfully. Per Mike Hoppinger in the Ring magazine, Gervonta Tank Davis, freshly off his domestic violence charges being dropped, will get into the ring with Jake Paul in Atlanta with a proposed date of November 15th. Lord child. Get your hand out of my pocket. Tank weighs about 135. Jake Paul weighs about 200-something pounds. So obviously this will be at a catch weight, and this possibly will not be a sanctioned fight where it will count on anybody's records. But I'm gonna tell y'all like this. Tank fans, you niggas down bad.
Hatred. Musty energy.
You niggas is down bad. Tank basically on the back half of his career, according to my brother Nestor Gibbs from the Boxing Voice. This man, Gervonta Tank Davis, said, I am not fighting no Shakur Stevenson. The man said, I'm not even going to rematch Lamont Sanat. The man just said, I'm not even thinking about fighting Dev Dollars, Devin the Dream, Debo Haney. I am going directly into Jake Paul. I've been told you that Tank was the black Jake Paul. Tank been the black Jake Paul. Man ain't care about legacy. Man ain't care about none of that, bro. Tank fans, you niggas down bad. Protect your fighter. It is musty at the highest level. And poor Lamont Sanat, it might be over for Lamont Sanat. He got to fight somebody. He might need to fight Gary Russell Jr. right now. Tank Davis, Lord Child, Jake Paul, boxing down bad. This about to make a lot of money. The only plus in this is that Alicia Baumgardner, aka Bomb Amy, might be on this card. I would love to see Alicia Baumgardner back on Netflix. That is a plus, and my man Lucas Body might get on there as well, and Avius Griffin. So it might be a movie as far as the undercard. Tank Davis, you down bad, bro. Boxing is absolutely disgusting and musty at the highest level. Get it together. Tank is a 30-plus-year-old prospect at the back end of his career. He on his Mayweather McGregor at the age of 30. Lord child.
Gervonta Davis's head trainer, Calvin Ford, openly acknowledged the risks involved, citing both the logistics and the massive size disparity between the fighters. Still, he remained confident, saying, asterisk, we signed the contract. We're going to make it do what it do. Asterisk, rather than fixating on weight, Ford turned the conversation toward glove size, revealing that both camps are still negotiating that detail. He explained that Davis usually competes with 8-ounce gloves, while suggesting a possible compromise, having Paul wear 10-ounce gloves and Davis keep his 8-ounce pair, as a way to even the playing field.
My only concern is, the gloves. You understand what I'm saying? Because we don't fight in 12-ounce gloves. We don't use 12-ounce gloves. That's training gloves, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, that's 2 pounds away from Jake. He fights in 10s. Tank fighting 8s, so he losing 4 ounces. So my thing is, I said, they said, put Tank in 8s, put him in 10s. That makes the fight more interesting. You know what I'm saying? And we'll go from there, because I understand. And I brought that question up to one of his handlers. They was, no, we don't want to do no mixed match. It's supposed to be an expedition. Why? Now y'all want the wins and the loss. You know what I'm saying? all these restrictions, but you want to be great. Being great is really pushing the envelope. You know what I'm saying? You know, Tank don't really care, you know? So when I brought this up, he said, dang, facts. You know what I'm saying? So again, you know, he can weigh the 10s and we weigh the 8s. Then we got to fight.
Ford revealed that Team Davis was initially preparing for a rematch with Lamont Roach Jr., a fight that made perfect sense from a competitive standpoint. But when the opportunity to face Jake Paul arose, they saw it as a blessing, a chance too big to ignore. Ford admitted the Roach rematch was the sporting choice, but the Paul fight promised far greater exposure and financial reward. He defended the decision by saying that Gervonta Davis has earned the right to take big opportunities and that sometimes a fighter has to walk through the bigger door when it opens, even if it's not the most obvious path. However, the proposed fight between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis quickly ran into major regulatory pushback. The Georgia Athletic and Entertainment Commission refused to sanction the bout in Atlanta, citing the enormous weight gap between the two fighters. Commission Chairman Rick Thompson didn't mince words, calling the matchup the dumbest thing I've ever heard, and dismissing it as nothing more than a money grab. When Paul's camp requested a weight class waiver, the commission flatly rejected it, arguing that a fight with such a mismatch in size simply wasn't safe. As a result, the event was relocated to Miami, where it ultimately received approval.
Say today, the chairman of the Georgia Athletic and Entertainment Commission, the commission that is going to be voting whether or not to approve Tank Davis and Jake Paul. His name is Rick Thompson. He had some very choice words for Tank fight. He says it's the dumbest ish he's ever heard. It's a money grabber, and he's not okay with it. And he doesn't like the arrogance of Tank Davis and Jake Paul announcing their fight, marketing their fight, having press conferences and shit before the commission can vote whether or not they're going to approve the fight. He calls it arrogance. Their concerns, obviously, the weight discrepancy between the two. In the state of Georgia, two competitors cannot outweigh each other by more than 9 pounds. Tank and Jake Paul's team have already submitted a rule waiver request to get that rule waived. And Rick Thompson also said in this article that he is expecting the committee to put it to a vote as to whether or not they're going to approve this fight on September the 18th when they're meeting again. Also, we got some insight that USA Today tried to reach out to other members of the committee, and all of them declined to comment on what's going on. But what I do know is that the Georgia Athletic and Entertainment Commission, it's a 5-person panel that's going to be voting on this Tank Davis Jake Paul shit.
Meanwhile, former world champion Amir Khan didn't hold back his disgust over the matchup, calling it disgraceful and warning that exhibition bouts with such extreme-sized mismatches could lead to serious injury, or worse, damage boxing's credibility. Khan stressed that weight classes exist for a reason, and ignoring them undermines the entire foundation of the sport. He went even further, criticizing Gervonta Davis for taking the fight in the first place, suggesting that by chasing a payday and spectacle rather than a legitimate top-tier opponent, Davis risks turning boxing into a joke. Khan acknowledged Davis's elite talent, but argued that stepping into the ring under these lopsided conditions raises grave concerns about both safety and integrity. In Khan's words, the message was simple. This isn't the kind of fight a serious champion should be taking.
There's a few boxers out there who are frowning at Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis fighting in an exhibition bout. You know, they can frown, but one fighter has been more vocal than the rest, and that's Amir Khan. The thing with Amir Khan, you know he's always been about his Wu-Tang cream, dollar bill, y'all. Now he's mad because Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul figured out a way to rob the bank, like Mayweather and Conor McGregor did. Amir Khan out here talking about, someone's gonna get hurt. This needs to stop. That's why people respect MMA so much. You don't see these fools trying to go over to MMA and do what they do in boxing. There needs to be some kind of control. He pulled a Eubank Senior on us. Parliamentary procedure. I'm like, what the fuck? Anyway, if Amir Khan had an opportunity to fight Jake Paul, all it is, hey guys, let's do the right thing and stop this social media nonsense. All fighters should stick to fighting, whether boxing or MMA. We shouldn't be crossing over, doing this misfit shit, fighting YouTubers or fighting Jake Paul.
On this fight, a really bad mismatch. And you know what? Whoever the promoter is and that's agreed Gervonta to fight, and whoever the promoter is to fight for Jake Paul to say fight this little man. I mean, that's wrong, man. I mean, that's just like torturing someone. I mean, going in there and hurting someone is just not fair on Davis. But like, say you don't know what position Davis is in. I heard they've been having a lot of legal problems and they've been arrested a couple of times for a couple of felonies and stuff I've seen with his ex-wife and stuff. So you know what? You know what's going through his head. Maybe he just wants to cash up and walk away from the sport. And maybe this is a great opportunity for him where he's seen this fight come up and he's like, fuck it, I'll take it. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I think they're making boxing a joke, really. Yeah. One day someone's going to end up getting hurt so badly, then it's going to definitely destroy the sport.
Meanwhile, Shakur Stevenson offered a sharp critique of the planned Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis bout, calling it a terrible idea due to the massive size difference between the fighters. He argued that Davis should be pursuing legitimate boxing challenges, not exhibition spectacles that, in his view, undermine the integrity of the sport. Stevenson insisted that Davis could make just as much, if not more, by focusing on real championship fights, especially a unification bout that would elevate his legacy instead of risking it. Positioning himself as the logical and worthy opponent, Stevenson framed the Jake Paul fight as nothing more than a money grab, contrasting it with the kind of matchup that would truly test Davis's greatness in the ring.
You got your eye on Tank. What do you think about the rumors of Tank and Jake fight?
Man, Tank disrespectful to the sport if he chooses that over fighting with me. I'm the best fighter in the sport. I've been telling him that. He called cap on it. So if you're gonna call cap and say I'm not who I say I am, come prove it.
Maybe he'll fight Jake Paul instead. What do you think of that?
I think that's terrible.
Why?
I mean, I get it because at the end of the day, it's a money business, and you want to make the most money. But from what I'm hearing, he can make more money in a fight with me. And if that's the case, why not fight me?
Sure. Do you think he beats Jake Paul?
Do I think he beats Jake? Yeah. I mean,
it's a huge size advantage, though.
It is, but I think Tank got the skills to make sure he come out on top.
Do you think that Jake has gone better?
Yeah, I think actually Jake got tremendously better from the time frame that he started till now. And in the right situation, I also could see him become a world champion.
Really?
KSI has openly blasted Jake Paul over his upcoming fight with Gervonta Davis, calling the matchup a * disgrace to boxing. * the YouTuber-turned-boxer expressed deep disappointment in Paul's choice of opponents, accusing him of ducking a real fight with him and instead chasing easier, safer matchups for attention and money. KSI's remarks highlight his ongoing frustration with Paul's career trajectory and what he sees as a pattern of carefully curated fights rather than genuine competition. He reiterated his desire for a legitimate showdown between the two, insisting that such a fight would finally settle their long-running rivalry in the ring.
I mean, look, with Jake, the guy's been ducking me or running away from me for so long, man. Like, he's just making excuse after excuse, and now he's fine. He wants to fight Tank. I mean, it just says the type of guy Jake Paul is. He only fights someone if he has a major advantage. Anything that's close, or anything that could actually be a decent fight, he runs away from it.
Teofimo Lopez offered a more balanced perspective on the upcoming Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis matchup, describing it not as a battle for titles or pride, but as a spectacle-driven showcase fueled by entertainment and financial reward rather than legacy or rankings. Lopez noted that there's no shame in that, since both fighters are set to earn massive paydays and attract unprecedented mainstream attention. While acknowledging that the fight lacks the prestige of a true championship bout, Lopez argued that it still holds value for the sport. In his view, Even an exhibition like this can benefit boxing by pulling in new audiences, expanding its reach, and reminding the world just how powerful the sport can be when personality, drama, and showmanship take center stage.
Happy for Gervonta and Jake. I really am, man. It's good for the sport in some way, you know?
So a heavyweight versus a lightweight.
Yeah.
You got a fly hit me, yeah. A heavyweight versus a lightweight. How's this gonna work?
Hey, they make it work. It's an exhibition for a reason. So, you know, they know what they're doing. And, you know, shout out to Netflix and shout out to both of them, honestly. Like I said, I think a lot of people in the boxing world are kind of upset. I could care less. I think they're going to go out there and make their money. It falls on the number 8 for a reason. They're going to make a lot of money.
Have you got a prediction for that fight?
My prediction? A show. A show.
Well, clearly it's a show, but when you've got a lot of people underestimating Jake Paul once again, but when you've got a heavyweight boxer who knows how to throw punches and knows the basics against a lightweight, it's quite a difference. I mean, have you sparred heavyweights before?
Yeah.
Competitive sparring in the ring?
Yeah, it's not the same. It's not the same, not at all. Definitely got to move. I've actually played around a few times, went through between their legs just to duck around. But yeah, because they're taller, you know?
Despite repeatedly warning about the massive size gap between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis, Joe Rogan has also made it clear that Tank's talent is undeniable. Speaking on his podcast, Rogan praised Davis as one of boxing's most explosive punchers, highlighting his elite timing, precision, and ring IQ, qualities that few fighters in the world can match. Rogan cautioned Jake Paul and his camp against believing that size alone would guarantee victory, stressing that Davis possesses the kind of fight-ending power that can flip a bout in an instant, even against a much larger opponent. He concluded that while Jake's physical advantages are real, Tank's technical mastery and experience make him far too dangerous to ever take lightly, no matter the weight difference.
Gervonta Davis is like that. Their technique's so dialed in that when you watch them uncork, it's like, oh my God, the efficiency of it. Giant fan of the guy. I just loved, as a person who like really enjoyed technique, I like watching someone who's exceptional at it. I always admired guys who were able to find like the shortest path connecting with a shot. Where it's just like the technique is so dialed in. You know, there's guys.
Do you agree with Joe Rogan's take? Or do you believe Gervonta Tank Davis will once again silence the doubters and prove that skill outweighs size? Drop your thoughts and predictions in the comments below. Who do you think walks out of the ring victorious? The powerful underdog or the proven champion?